G'day everyone, in this video here we're going to be looking at making back-to-back stem and leaf plots. These are really good for comparing same sets of data or equivalent data over the same amount for this example games. Okay, so when constructing these, it's really good to get an idea of the smallest and highest values for each one first. So we'll see here that the rocket's smallest value, if you go through this data, is 62. And the Warrior's smallest value here is 75. Okay, and we'll just go over the highest value. So the Rocket's highest value here is 88, and our highest value for the Warriors is 97 just here. So it's really good to get this so you can set up your table appropriately or your plot appropriately. So here we know that our data is going to go from 62 from Rocket's smallest score to 97, the Warrior's highest score. So I can start off by putting our first column in. So this is what goes in the middle. So this is the tens column. So 6 for the 60, then 7, 8, 9, and I made an extra one, but that doesn't matter. We just don't need to write in that one. So here we've got our values that we're going to be using. So I'm just going to put up a key here. So if I had maybe like a number on there, there is 71. So we have 7-1. This means it's going to mean, this means 71 points. Okay, because in our question it says scored the following points in their 10-game season. Okay, so we've set up our key. Now it's just about going through each set of data and writing them in an order. So whenever we're going to start with the Rockets one, I'm just going to get rid of this, and it's always good to cross out your data so you don't miss any points when you're doing it, and you start closest to the stem. Okay, even when going on this first column. So we start closest to the stem and we get the smallest number, which is 62. Okay, and then we make our way out and it goes 64, 67 and 68. So I'm just going to cross these out: 62, 64, 67 and 68. And then in our 70s we've got 71, 72, 73. Oh, that's a pretty bad 3 there. Let's do that one again. 73, 75 and 78. Doing this a little bit quicker because I've already done the question, but just make sure that you are crossing out each one. 73, 72, 78, and then we've just left with 88 there. Okay, and that's all of the Rockets data complete. So now we're going to move on to the Warriors. So we find their smallest score that they've got, and that here is 75, and then they've got 2 after with 76, so we're going to put them down. And just take note that all my data lines up, so all my values, there's one value in this, one value in this column, another value in that column. So make sure that all your data is lining up equally with the one above it. Okay, so it's really handy if you are doing this on grid paper like I am. Then we've got 81, 82, 87, 88 and 89. I'm just going to cross all those ones out. And then we have 94 and 97. So this is our part A done with drawing a stem and leaf plot with an interval of 10. So an interval of 10 just means that we've got 60s, then the 70s, then the 80s, then the 90s. Okay, so it just means that there's 10 between each stem. Okay, so this is how we make this. Now part B, compare and comment on the differences between the two teams. So really we just need to look at what there is and just make a few connections between it. So it's always good to look at the highest and the lowest scores and looking at the range of the different scores. That's probably generally where you want to go with answering these questions. So I'm just going to start off with who's got the highest scores. So the Warriors have the highest scores. Ooh. So they've got the highest scores. And their scores range from 75 to 97. So then we've got the highest scores there, so we'll probably sum it up with the Rockets' range of scores. So the Rockets scores are between 62 and 88. Okay, so the Rocket scores are between 62 and 88. Generally scoring below 78 though, because 88 is another 10 higher than their usual score. So normally they're scoring around that 60 to 70 mark. So I'm just going to say generally scoring up to 78 points. Because it was only once that they got into the 80s and well into the 80s with their 88. Okay. So that's a brief comment on the data. It gives a bit of background on their different scores. That's all you want to do when it says compare and comment on the differences of the scores between the two teams. It doesn't ask you to compare the median values. You can go into that, or the medians, the modes, and the mean. You can compare that way as well, okay? Or you can compare just looking at the ranges and what they generally make as well. So there's a few different ways that you can answer that question. Yet again, the more that you bring into it, the more accurate it will be as well. So hopefully this helps with this type of question, and good luck.